Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic.
What is something designed for women that has obviously been designed by a man? Wasn't there some guys on Shark Tank or something like it that made gloves for women to use to change their menstrual products? They were single use and pink or something. Wait till they hear about a crazy newfangled phenomenon called hand washing. I mean, I regularly wipe my ass without gloves, not problem at all. In the ranking of gross things, I'd much rather get my wife's period blood on my hand than either of our poops. Blood is just part of you. I'm not afraid of my own blood, and for someone I'm intimate with, trust, I'm not afraid of their blood. Poop, on the other hand, is just pure waste, and nasty, toxic by design. There was another guy, not Shark Tank, who tried to invent some kind of vagina glue so girls could get up in the morning and glue their lips shut instead of worrying about menstrual products at all. Then when they had to pee, the stream of urine would unseal the lips and flush out all the blood. After you wipe, you reapply and glue shut until the next time. I don't know how many men he worked with on this idea before someone explained basic fucking biology to this guy, but there were an alarming number of men who thought it was a great idea. I'm a man, but my vagina became infected reading this. What? And I really need to emphasize this, the fuck. I read about this before. I have zero desire to look up the source such, but the man who invented this had his daughter test it. Can you even imagine the absolute creepy bullshit that daughter put up with? There is a patent for labia glue that dissolves when you pee on it. Do use while on your period to hold the blood in. A male chiropractor invented and tried to sell it. So that, I remember he got dragged so hard by so many women who pointed out how stupid of an idea it was and just dug his little heels in, saying something like, well, women haven't come up with a better solution in decades, so shut up. Quote, I'm a dude and just imagining it, I'm like, why the hell would someone want to let it just stay in there? The closest analogy I can think of is selling men glue to seal their penis shut at night to hold in nocturnal emissions until they pee in the morning. No, edit, yes, to people's points, there are products like that. That was my admittedly ignorant visceral reaction as a guy. It was mostly the thought of damming something in with glue as opposed to absorbing or catching it that felt unnatural. Well, women haven't come up with a better solution in decades, so shut up. Quote, wow buddy. It's almost like there isn't a solution that involves both having your period and actively not bleeding until you are on a toilet. It's almost like if there was, women would have fucking thought of that millennia ago. ETA, dying laughing at the menfolk all up in their feelings about my comment mocking some dumbass who thought gluing labia together is a great menstrual solution. Guys. Chill, lol. LMAO even. Chiropractor, this is more relevant than anything. Every single gyno procedure and lack of pain meds given for it. This won't hurt a bit. Just a quick pinch. Quote, honestly sick of male doctors telling me things don't hurt. I had a guy taking a biopsy of my cervix to make sure I didn't have cancer. He said it doesn't hurt. I was already skeptical because my cervix was sore. I knew it hurt because it hurt when I had sex, so it's not like the cervix is devoid of feeling. And he took an unsuitable sample, so he had to take another one. The sample wasn't good enough again and realized the biopsy tool was broken. He took a third sample, finally good enough. He ripped my cervix to shreds and I was in agony. But hey, I must have imagined my pain because the cervix doesn't hurt. There aren't nerve endings, or whatever he said. New rule, you get to tie a string to the gynecologist's testes. If a procedure hurts more than a wee pinch, you get to yank the string. I bet there would be way better pain management within 24 hours of the new safety string is implemented. My IUD was the most painful thing I ever experienced. I dread it to the point of panic attacks and hyperventilating when I need a new one. I'm about to replace my second one and am looking for any gyno that will administer pain meds. I'll even drive cross-country for it. It hurts that bad. Okay, this is niche, but I hate it whenever I go to sit at a bar and there are no hooks under the bar. Double points if the stools don't have a back where I can loop my purse, coat over the seat back, and I am stuck piling my purse and or coat in my lap. Same for public restrooms, please put a hook on the door so I'm not precariously balancing my purse on my lap or worse on the floor. The worst is the non-smooth surfaces of the bars. How many pantyhose I ripped because people don't bother to sand bottoms of the bar where your knee can touch, or even chairs at an office. ETA, typo. PPE, unisex fit my ass, tears of joy. I give grant money to first responders and one of the things they buy with our funds are gloves, different suit types, etc. It is generally for training, so depending on the suit and item it is reused, and so you would think they would have a whole variety of sizes. I am 5 feet 5 inches and overall fairly petite, and every single time I visit them I make a point to try on the suits, especially any gloves cause I have small hands. Not one single fire department has had any reusable item that fit me. So, do you all just like not hire women? 'Cause you're supposed to have sizes available for trainees that safely fit them. The only excuses I've heard were that they don't make them in women's sizes, which may at least in part be true, but literally the whole damn point of the grant is to have this stuff available to all trainees, not just the men. They are allowed to pay more to ensure everyone has proper gear to train in. The first responders in charge of purchasing always yuck it up at how silly I look in the massively oversized gear until I remind them that each year more first responders die in training than actual fires. Like, yeah, maybe she wouldn't have been crushed to death when she couldn't control a vehicle properly with gloves 10 sizes too big. Extract from a book I'm reading, Uncultured, a memoir. This is a 20-minute block of instruction on how to wear your new armored vest and carrier. Please lay the combat vest in front of you. So, the thing is, he said, holding up a heavy square plate the size of a laptop computer, rotating it lengthwise in front of his chest and then pulling it snugly against himself. When you put your vest on, and this is mounted correctly, you'll want to make sure that this piece of Kevlar is sitting no more than half an inch away from your center of mass. In a firefight, you gotta protect your vital organs, and that's how. When you lose weight, which you will, because the food in the sandbox is shit, you'll need to make sure you get a new vest from Damage Exchange. This is the most important thing any of y'all will hear today. He paused briefly and stamped his foot, the Universal Army gesture to command special attention. If there's too much space in between the plate that stops the bullet and your big old bellies, then the impact of the bullet hitting this here Kevlar can concuss your insides and they'll be sending those purple hearts home to your families instead of pinning M on you. Y'all hearing me? The fit makes a big difference in whether you get killed by a fucking raghead over there or not. I didn't need to hold mine up to realize I had a problem. So did every other woman. Excuse me, sir. I raised my hand even though I didn't want to, knowing how this conversation would probably go. Can you explain to me how this is supposed to work for the females? He blinked 2 rounded eyes at me, all pretense of joviality gone. Come again. He drew out the letters. This here is armor, doll. It has nothing to do with your gender. You are gonna want it to stop bullets, not buy you dinner. Yes, I understand the whole not wanting to get shot part, I said as I rose. But can I demonstrate one issue, a rather small one in my case? I shed my fuzzy green overcoat and army combat uniform jacket and turned to face him. Nothing ever fit a woman right in the army. I wore my extra small men's uniform pants hiked up to the narrowest part of my waist, to prevent them from falling off me when I walked. Even for a girl like me, no curves at all, I said, ignoring the tightening feeling inside my chest as I drew attention to my bust. A plate like this, I pulled it tighter, is gonna give a pretty wide gap between my vital organs and the Kevlar. I've got boobs, a bit of a blocking system built in here. I pivoted to the right, showing him the gap of nearly 3 inches between the plate and my midsection. The contractor scratched his head. I see what you're saying, but I don't know what to tell you. I've never had a soldier whip out the boobs during a briefing, you know. He laughed, but in all seriousness, darling, I don't think you really have to worry about it. You women are not going to be in combat getting shot at, now are ya? Why even bother lugging around a 30-pound weight if it wasn't even guaranteed to keep us alive? Did anyone even care? They don't make gear for women. I'm in emergency response, not a firefighter though, and was tasked with getting more leveler suits for our team. Literally, they don't make suits smaller than a men's medium, and the boots are all in men's sizes too. There's 3 of us petite women on the team that just have to make do with improperly fitting gear. It's infuriating and like you said, it's unsafe. Thankfully the odds of us having to perform an actual response in level are extremely small, but I still have to walk around in trainings with a very bunched up suit and oversized boots. If you haven't yet, you should read Invisible Women. There's a whole chapter about how PPE is not designed for women's bodies across multiple industries and how that affects both ability to do the job and women's safety. Great book. The worst offenders I've heard about here. Tab-proof, bulletproof vests aren't built to accommodate breasts. Breasts cause the vest to sit higher, leaving the lower abdomen much more exposed. The same problem is seen with lead vests, aprons used to protect against radiation, e.g. from X-rays. There are plenty of other examples of safety equipment or policies being designed for men and used by women which endanger women in their workplaces, but these are particularly heinous. I work in a lab and have never found a lab coat which fits me properly. Our benches are all too high, and many pieces of equipment are more difficult to use for someone of my height and upper body strength. Newer equipment tends to be better, which is good, but just highlights that these things were a careless choice, not a necessity. My lab is 85% female. Edit, if any young girls are reading this, don't let it put you off. Science is wonderful and I love my job. These problems are slowly being addressed, so hopefully your future lab experiences will be a lot more comfortable. Razors. I just buy the regular man version if I wanna use a razor. Never understood that pink tax thing. If the other one is cheaper, just buy the blue one. They're all made to cut hair. It's funny that there's a pink tax and a black tax, blue tax. I, a man, wanted to buy some wet wipes to put in my motorcycle camping bag and looked at the man wipes in super sexy black packaging and noticed that the price per wipe was way more expensive than basic wipes that were next to them. In fact, there were about half the wipes for twice the price. Next thing you know, they're going to jack up the price for unisex wipes as a specialty item.